Welcome to Boots and Bucket List Shorts. Today we have a special guest with us, and she is the brains behind the beauty. I'll let her introduce herself now.
So I am Michaela Schwede. I got into designing when I was Miss Rodeo, South Dakota. I made a majority of my wardrobe with my grandma. Thank God for my grandma. Yeah, we made a lot of this stuff, upcycled a lot of this stuff. Everything I wore designed, unless it was like bought off the rack. But yeah, that's what started it. I worked in the bridal industry. I've worked in upscale boutique, and then I've also worked at a big, huge corporation for kind of more fast fashion.
Because I know the backstory, but like for the viewers that don't know how we're all connected, we met through Katie.
Yeah, so Katie, your sister, and I were, she was Oregon the year that I was South Dakota. I met her at Denver Market, and we were just talking about this the other night. I was so thankful I met her and your mom during Denver Market. We kind of navigated the Denver Market together. But yeah, we have mutual friends because of rodeo queening. That was the connection. How I met you in Florida, I believe, was the first time I met you. And then I'm so happy I get to make things for you and your sister.
Yes, and that kind of brings us into what we're going to talk about today. Myself and Katie and Randy, you made all of our ball gowns for our recent vacation in Europe and our ball that we went to in Vienna. Tell us a little bit about what was your reaction when you found out you were going to be making ball gowns for us? What was some of the things you were most excited about and maybe some of your biggest struggles?
I'm going to start with the biggest struggle because it just came out of my head. That would probably just be the distance between us. But thank God, your mom knows how to professionally measure you. I was able to FaceTime Randy when she was with her mom to get the measurements. So that's the hardest part, just being so far away. Thankfully, we could ship things back and forth. Getting that fit right, getting the measurements exactly right when we're not in person is always going to be a challenge. So that was the hardest part.
Are you here to trick or treat?
Yeah, trick or treat. It's a treat. It's a good treat.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
My favorite part about working with people that I know is I want to make heirloom type things. I have a lot of stuff that I've inquired from my grandma, like leather coats. Furs is a big one that I've got from my grandma, great grandma. I emceed a fashion show and I actually wore a coat that my great great grandma owned. 100% wool. It's got a mink collar and it's still in amazing condition. It was my grandpa's mom. It really changed my mindset. I want to wear things and I want to create things that are heirloom pieces that, maybe you pass down and just have a lot of quality to them. Sustainability is a big thing. Just not throwaway pieces. Yeah, something that you're going to want to wear for the rest of your life or could wear multiple ways makes me excited. I like making things for big moments.
Yeah. Well, and then speaking of big moments, so when you first got the call, I think Katie was probably the first one that called you. So when you first got the call from Katie, she didn't know what she was doing. Technically, I'm the only one that knew for sure that they were going to a ball. I think they all kind of worked it out, but they technically didn't know. So what was that kind of like, having to work with the secrecy and everything?
I think it was good because I got the stipulations from you and they would a couple of times they were like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, actually that goes against the rules. I'm not going to give you more information on that, but no. So that was good that I had the piece, you planning the trip, which is a huge undertaking for that people. So I had the rules from you as far as no white and you're going to be dancing in it. So you're going to want to move your body. You're going to want to be comfortable. That was good to have that piece of it from you. Otherwise, I feel like it would have been a lot harder.
Right. I mean, you talked a little bit about what goes into your thought process for fashion. Is there any person or style that's a particular influence to your design work or just you in general?
I would say I've always been super interested in Ralph Lauren and his story. He has it on a ready-to-wear scale, and then he also has it on red carpet, phenomenal gown scale, and runway. I just loved his last runway. It was super cool experience. So I've always been interested in his work and how he started, and his wife's his muse. Love, that it's very cowboy. And then I also love Zach Posen is another one, just how his gowns fit. How his gowns fit are insane, and the math that goes into, creating the gowns and the shapes like that. His structure is beautiful. I watched him on Project Runway, and he actually quoted, this is very rodeo queen princess to me. And I'm like, oh my God, Zach Posen knows what a queen is. Yeah, I would say those two are big, huge inspirations to me. And then I just am on Pinterest every day, probably. Ooh, that's really cool. Or, ooh, that's really cool. But,
Pinterest can be a dangerous thing.
Yes, I think I could live without social media except for Pinterest. I doom scroll.
I feel that. You've made a lot of different pieces, but to date, what is your most favorite one you've ever made?
I made myself a veil, and then I also made my reception dress. So I kind of wore a ball gown for my wedding ceremony and then the first dance, and then I wanted to change into something that was like more comfortable. And I used the choker piece from my mom's wedding dress. So both my sister and I had parts of my mom's wedding dress in our weddings. So that was cool to like use pieces of her wedding dress. And I do have clients that are like, hey, will you cut out my mom's wedding dress? I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. There. Being able to use those pieces again, even if it's in a different light, even if it's in a different shape, even if we just get appliques or beads, you know, something that your mom wore or something that was special to her to wear it on your day is like really fun for me to be able to do that again, just like that heirloom piece. I think when you wear something that has a lot of history, like you bring that history with you on your, you know, day to day or on your wedding day. So that's cool to me. I like being able to do that.
And then as far as like making things super unique, you talked about upcycling old pieces and things like that, but for us, you made completely new outfits. And we're all three of us are very different personalities, I feel like. Was there anything you took into account as far as like personality-wise that you wanted to incorporate into the dresses as far as like cut, style, that sort of thing?
I have never actually met Randy personally. We just followed each other on socials and then had a couple interactions, you know, texting and FaceTime and stuff. So that was really dependent on like, what do you want to wear? What do you want to invoke when you wear this? How do you want the fit to be? I don't ever want to like copy and paste things that other designers have done, but like give me a specific like what you want in this dress and she wanted off the shoulder. What's your favorite part of your body? Let's show that part off. And like, what are you most comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? So it's very like, it's pretty personal.
Right.
I would. And like with Katie, I'm making her an outfit for 30 under 30. And it's, what do you want to invoke? What shoes are you going to wear? I kind of usually start with shoes. Yeah, it was a fun experience working. I think you guys all have different personalities, very different styles, but creeping on your Instagram, tell me what's, you know, what's something like, I think with you, you shared some runway pictures with me and I'm like, what do you absolutely love? What's your favorite fit? So getting to know those things is kind of fun about people too. And then that's kind of how I start and design around once we get that established.
That sounds like so much fun. Like a puzzle kind of coming together. Like, where do you see your business in 5 to 10 years? And then how do people find you if they want to follow you?
I am on Facebook and Instagram, and my email address is attached there as well. I do have a website. I'll share that with you later.
Perfect.
I am on YouTube, but it's all climbing videos. Maybe I'll share. I'm really bad at social media. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's like another job in and of itself.
Right.
Find me on I have a website. Reach out to me that way. I am a stay-at-home mom. That's my number one priority. I am currently working out of my home. I call it my sewing dungeon. I would love to have a place to kind of have a full interactive experience. I've been meeting clients at hotels or their home, or if it's possible to ship things back and forth. But I would love to have like a home base where I can invite clients to come out. I get a whole like experience that I would love to have for the next 5 years. Love to do some runway shows. I produced Miss Rodeo South Dakota's fashion show since 2020. I believe. So did that and then had, you know, anywhere from a couple years I had 10 pieces, a couple years I had 5 pieces. So just putting together that fashion show. I volunteered at Omaha Fashion Week in 2018 and I fell in love with fashion weeks. So that is another line is I'm going to finally do it. Apply for some fashion weeks, but
well, that sounds so just fun.
Dressing. I want to dress you on like your most important day. I want to create heirlooms. I want to like create clothing that invokes a feeling when you put it on. Like, oh, I remember this time I did this in this outfit, and it's something you're going to treasure and you're going to have it in your closet for forever. Is kind of where I would like to be. Definitely not mass produced. Definitely not multiple things, but runway fashion shows and just continuing to kind of help in the rodeo queen industry, whichever way that may be, is fun to me. I like, you know, the mentorship in that and dressing in that. And so, yeah.
Well, the ball was pretty special for us. I'm going to remember forever, and your gown helped make that possible. And I know I got so many compliments from the locals there. So.
Studying.
Well, thank you for your time, and thanks for letting me pick your brain. At this point, I'm just hoping that the video I took of this works.
The screen record.
Yeah, I did a test run this morning and it worked. So now I just got to hope it all fits together during the editing. Stop panicking. It's going to be fine.
I don't know how that whole trip and not like panic the whole time about it.
Always. I panic about everything. That's why I get really good at handling it, I guess. But yeah, thank you. It's so good to see you. And thanks for indulging me. And putting makeup on.
Like, like this hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah.
Why did you do your hair? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be like on camera, so I should probably get a little put together. One of my good mentors was giving me a hard time, and I was like, Judy, I either look like Adam Sandler or I'm dressed up. There's no in between. Literally zero, like 0 or 100.